Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck or saying no to plans because you feel like you're too broke? Then you probably need a side hustle. This is going to be your ultimate guide. And this is coming from someone that in their first year of content creation made £35,000, which is basically a full-time salary. I'm going to be talking about all the tips and tricks that I've done. I'm going to structure this video starting with things that anyone can do and sort of segue into personal branding and content creation stuff. But if you don't want to be a content creator, that is totally fine. There's going to be so much value packed into this video that I'm sure you'll be able to take a lot from it. The first one that I feel that any single person can do is bank switching. So what is bank switching? As the name suggests, it's just switching your bank from one provider to another. A lot of these banks will offer sign-up bonuses for switching, and you want to make sure that you're using the current account switch service. I've seen people make over £2,000 for doing this. Yes, it does depend on the offers available at the time. I know that Santander have an offer, NatWest have an offer as we speak. Definitely check Martin Lewis's website, Money Saving Expert, to find all of the latest deals. I personally have made a couple of £100 from doing this, and it's such an easy side hustle that anyone can do. You may be thinking, I don't want to switch my childhood bank. Well, that's totally fine. I personally bank with Chase and they allow me to make separate savings pots, but these savings pots have their own current account number. So what I do is I just switch one of these. The whole process can take around 2 or 3 weeks, but it's a fairly easy way to make £175-ish each time. Number 2 is selling old things. I guarantee that anyone watching this, you have a junk drawer, you have piles of clothes that you don't wear. I genuinely believe that most people wear like 10% of their wardrobe and the rest is just sitting there. You 100% have something that needs selling, but you can't quite let go of it because you originally paid too much for it, or whatever the reason might be. You don't want to let these things go, but I'm telling you, all of that stuff used to be money. So let's turn it back into money and use that money for other things like investing. Which kind of leads me on to my next point, is the easiest side hustle to get into from this, in my opinion, would be reselling. Because if you have an eye for fashion or any kind of thing, it could be Pokemon cards, it can tell when something is undervalued or see the market value for it is higher, then definitely try reselling. This is something that I did at uni and I did make, I think, £400 of profit. So it wasn't really like much, but it was something for me at the time and I put this money in savings. So I definitely recommend getting into it. I used to just go to charity shops and find, for example, I found a Vivienne Westwood shirt for £15 and I resold it for 30, I think. And then I did some volunteering in a charity shop and I bought a Coach bag for £8 and I resold it for 80. So there's definitely ways that you can make a lot of money by doing this. And I know there's some people that are going to be like, that is so unethical. You should leave the charity shop clothes for people that need it. Do you know that 80% of clothes that are donated to charity shops go to landfill? Like, that scares me so much. Like, you're actually doing a world of good, not bad. Number 4 is freelancing a skill that you already have. Think about what you do in your day job. It could be graphic design, it could be web design. I would say usually those creative fields are where you find the most freelancers or people that could do a 9 to 5 and do freelancing outside of that. But you could freelance any service. It's just about being clever about it. Number 5 is tutoring. Again, something that a lot of people could do. You could tutor English. Any English speaking person can tutor English. But like, say you got really good grades in A levels or at university, just teach the skills that you learn in that course to people that are younger than you. Number 6 is babysitting or dog sitting. For these ones, you obviously have to be good or like being with kids or pets, but I knew people at university that would use this app called Rover, and they would like stay at other people's houses and look after their dogs and stuff like that. And they would make like a couple of £100 for each stay or something like that. You can even get paid to walk them. You don't even have to like stay over. Number 8 is print on demand. It's a side hustle that literally anyone can get into because essentially there's no upfront costs. You can create a design if you're like a good graphic designer or you just like making cute designs. You obviously have to do a lot of market research to see what is trending on Etsy and use certain software to see like what people are searching for. To create a design on Canva, you can stick it on a t-shirt, a mug, and there's no risk because if someone doesn't buy it, then you haven't lost anything but the time used making it. Next one has to be content creation. And when I say that, it's such a broad term because you could be an influencer, content creator, UGC creator. There's so many different things. But I would say having a personal brand is one of the most lucrative things in our day and age, in my opinion, because it instantly makes you more employable because you show more skills, you demonstrate value. Not only that, you can make so much money as a quote unquote content creator because brands are willing to pay so much for attention. Social media isn't going anywhere and therefore influencers aren't going anywhere. And I think I've spent a total of maybe £300 on equipment or costs, editing software and stuff like that. That is nothing, but I've made over 35K. I definitely need to up my expenses so I don't have to pay as much tax, but that just shows you that it is a zero upfront cost business. Like, I did not start with anything. I would tape my phone to a window and film like that before I had like one of those Octobuddy things. But yeah, I literally started with nothing and built over 200K followers across all my platforms. So it's so possible. Personally grew by talking about my niche, which is finance and investing, but you could find something else that you're really passionate about that you could talk for hours about and make content about that. Some people's response might be, well, I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to be judged. But I hate to tell you that whatever you do in life, people are judging you anyway, in person as well, whether it's online or not. Like, you're always going to be perceived. That mentality is one of the reasons why I've got so far, is because I don't care. Which then leads on to all of these subcategories of side hustles that come from that main personal brand. You have affiliate marketing, which is where you get paid to promote a service. And when someone uses your affiliate link or your tracking link, you will get a commission, whether it's 10% or a fixed fee. Like, every time someone signs up, you'll get £15. When influencers say link in my bio, that's what that is. Number 2 is UGC. Creating content for brands that they post on their page. You don't have to have a massive following for this. You just have to be really good at making content. You may be thinking, well, I don't think I'll be good at it, but how are you going to know unless you start? If you have a personal brand and you have a following that is interested in a certain topic, I guarantee that there are brands that are willing to pay for that audience. Think about it. Back in the day, if you wanted to advertise, you wanted your brand to get known, you would have to pay for a billboard, a TV ad. Now you can pay an influencer to get the same amount of reach and probably pay them less than you would have paid for a billboard. You then even have things like usage rights. Like, for example, I made a video ages ago that it was just organic content, but then I had a news agency reach out to me and ask if they could use that content for a publication, and I got paid £100 for it. So there's lots of ways where you can make quote unquote passive income because you've already done the work up front. Same goes for view count. I could make 30 videos in a month and get £1,000, which is quite a good source of steady income if the performance is there. There's so many different ways to monetize as a content creator or someone with a personal brand that's online. Okay, so the next one isn't technically a side hustle, it's more of like a passive income stream, but please, 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 if you have a lot in savings and you don't want to invest it in the stock market, put that money in a high yield savings account. Not just your regular current account or your traditional high street bank savings account that's offering you like 0.01%. Money is getting eaten away by inflation year on year, and it's losing value and it's losing its buying power. Therefore, you should be putting it in a high yield savings account. It's a no-brainer. I'm personally making around £90 a month from my high yield savings account, which covers a lot of my bills, which is very good. The next thing would be investing in the stock market. Next thing to consider might be investing in the stock market, because while it's not a side hustle, it is something that is going to grow you wealth. I made a whole video about investing step by step, and I have a whole playlist on my TikTok about it. So I really recommend checking those out. It's not as scary as it seems, but there's so many different ways to make an income from investing, because you can get paid these things called dividends. These are small payments to shareholders for holding a particular investment. You can invest in things like REITs, real estate investment trusts. This is technically like a way to invest in real estate without having to own any physical property. For example, one of my favorite REITs out there is called Realty Income, and the ticker symbol is O. It has a dividend yield of 5%, which is much more than a high yield savings account. Yes, it does come with risk because it's investing, but these are just some options that you could look into if you are thinking about investing and you want more passive income. That is a thorough list of side hustles. I mean, I have so many more, but I just don't want this video to be too long. Let me know if you have any questions about them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on further videos. I'll see you in the next one.